So just to start, can you guys just tell me a little bit about how this project kind of came together? Like, did you approach Marvel with this idea to put this all together, or did they come to you saying, we specifically want you guys?
The Folio Society approached us, which is a big deal for me. I love the Folio Society so much. I've visited their offices in London, seen them like putting their books together. It's like my Willy Wonka's chocolate factory without all the danger. And so when they asked me to do this, I could not have been more excited.
Mm, sure.
Yeah. I mean, like we said earlier, it's like what comic fan doesn't want to give their opinion? And in a beautiful hardcover book.
Yeah,
No, definitely. No, definitely. And I have to imagine that the selection process was not easy. Because 10 stories total. First of all, I'm just kind of curious, was it like, did you each pick five and go from there, or did you kind of work together the whole time to pick 10 you could both agree on?
we just slapped together our lists separately and then put them together. We had, I mean, 30. Then
Yeah.
we just had to start pairing. I mean, it was very easy for us to assemble our list.
Oh,
That
sure.
wasn't the problem.
Yeah. And I think like there's definitely one or two like, oh, this is a personal favorite of mine, this perfect. But most of them were like, yeah, obviously that goes on there, and or ooh, I didn't think of that. That's a surprising one, and I love that story. So there was very little like, trust me, this has to, I know you don't like it. There was never any of that. It was always like, yes, 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 yes. Excitement.
Sure, sure. I'm sure that's just such a long process too. Like you said, it wouldn't be hard to come up with a list of 50, 60 of them and narrowing it down, especially with two people to 10. That how long did
Yeah.
it take you guys to do that?
Like a long afternoon of
Yeah, long afternoon.
a heavy
I mean, it was
discussion.
it wasn't really a heated argument because it wasn't like I was going, oh my god, well I've got to concede. Like the stuff that we were putting it, like if I let Jordan put one on the list, and it was still a great story. It wasn't like going, oh, I'm letting something not as good to me. They were all fantastic. That wasn't the problem. It was
Mhm.
the fact that, oh, we only have 10, but they're all going to be good.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know,
sure.
And
I'm
and
not
I feel like
resenting anything right now. It's an amazing list.
Oh, it you guys did great, by the way.
Yeah.
It's 10 great ones.
and I think it started to take shape a little bit as we were going through it, where we're like, all right, we're gonna start off with like this has been reprinted. This is a classic story, but you have to start with something that is the core of Marvel and Spider-Man lifting the heavy thing, right?
Yep,
And then I think as you go, we were trying to find ones that were slightly contained, that you could read it, not a one and done completely. We have like an end of a Fantastic Four story and the beginning of a Runaway story, but I think feel like they show you all different facets of the Marvel universe and show you, I think, what you're capable of doing in the storytelling of comics, specifically in Marvel.
sure, sure. That touches on something I was going to ask you too, because I mean, I was just thinking if I was going to put together a list like this, what would that look like? And I have to imagine it's hard because so many single issues like play into a larger storyline, and you can't put all of Infinity Gauntlet in there or anything like that.
Right.
So,
That was the hard thing, was staying away from full storylines. So we tried to be like, if I just gave you this single issue, you could walk away and feel like you got a whole meal, you
yeah,
know?
Hmm.
which is almost like a different thing than, I mean, you could do a whole different book of just actual storylines, but single issues, I bet that's almost harder in some ways.
It was, but then I think it was just a lot of stuff of like going back to that moment where you put it down, right? You just finished it and you're
Yeah.
like, wow. And then an imprints on you. Like, and some of them are people be like, why that one? Like, why an X Factor one? And you're like, I read that and it changed the way I thought of what you could do in comics. Or I know, Patton, for you, that Untold Tales one with Spider-Man, it was like emotionally, it was such a great way to kind of convey that type of story, right?
Mm, sure. Sure. Was there any ones that like, I mean, no, again, you had a huge list, but was there any like heartbreaking ones like really wanted to put this on but didn't have room for 11?
I mean, one of the heartbreaking things was that whole that that story Severance Pay is from a series called Tangled Web of Spider-Man, and there are so many one single story issues in that could have easily been like, it was weird, like that picking Severance, although Severance package is so good that it didn't really hurt that much, but there was a lot in that series where you could basically just do, that's like some of the best stuff Marvel's ever done, that series, Spider-Man Tangled Web. It's amazing.
Sure.
And then I'm a huge X-Men guy and mutant related books. So
Mm-hmm.
not having a New Mutants, Claremont Sienkiewicz one on there was a hard one to kill. But I think we the mutants are
Yeah.
properly repped in this
Oh,
book, I think.
you still
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
Claremont on there.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. I gotta say though, I like what you picked, but I like how it kind of represents so many different eras of Marvel Comics too. Because you got like the classic Stan Lees in there, and then like I said, you got the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four. Was that like a
Mm-hmm.
conscious thing that when you were deciding, did you want to hit like all these different eras, or did that just kind of naturally happen? Because I mean, there's so much good stuff to pull from everywhere.
This was a very natural and organic pull. These were things that truly just stuck with us. We weren't trying to think of, well, we got to represent this. I mean, you notice there's nothing from the Bronze Age, nothing from the 70s.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went with our gut.
Mm.
A lot of Jim Starlin fans have told me how much we've screwed up not putting in any Bronze Age, but I just didn't read it to
Yep.
it's kind of when we were readers and what we've gone back to, and it's nothing against the Bronze Age. Maybe we should have put that one in where Luke Cage goes to get $20 for that Doctor Doom owes him. That one's pretty fun.
Um, so kind of touch on this a little bit, but I'm wondering of the 10 stories on there, is there one that you guys feel like you have a personal connection to? Like, is there one on there you remember reading all the time growing up and just have kind of gone back to it again and again and again?
Mine, I guess I mentioned that X Factor one, and as a kid who was in a lot of therapy as a child, seeing my favorite mutants having to go through the same thing, and Havoc talking about his inadequacy issues, and multiple man's loneliness, like all that stuff. I thought was so like wow, this just hits to my core.
Mm,
Yeah.
sure, sure. No, totally.
um, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, no. I was gonna ask something else, but if you got something to,
No, no, go ahead.
I was just kind of wondering, the collection is called Marvel Unforgettable Stories, which, yeah, so many unforgettable stories. But what do you guys think, like, truly makes a comic unforgettable? Like, do you think it's specifically the writing, the art? Is it a combination of all of them? What kind of, when you think about your favorite ones, what are the parts that really stand out to you?
The moment where you can feel like the writer is surprised, where they are writing a character and the character gets away from them and does something that even they didn't expect them to do. And if they're surprised, you'll be surprised. And those little moments, sometimes it's only for a frame, but it's just like, oh, a real moment of chaotic humanity just crept through here. So those are the ones that I never forget.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I think on the art side, it was like pushing the form forward. I think that Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine one, there's nothing like it, and it kind of changed the way you could tell stories and draw comics in the same way that Pizza's My Business is like so unique and so something you could only do in comics in
Hmm.
that art form.
Hmm. That one was such a good pick too. I was so excited to see you got Hawkeye in there. That's I'm a fan. I was rooting for
Yeah.
We're big Fraction David Asha fans, so
sure.
had to go.
Sure. So obviously this is not the first time either of you have worked with or worked with Marvel or for Marvel or in that whole realm. And I know this was the Fraction Society and everything, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you guys made the MODOK series, which I was such a fan, and I was so hoping for a second season.
Oh, thanks. So were we.
Yeah, we definitely were.
So, yeah, I've probably watched that first season 3, 4 times now. I love it so
Oh,
much.
that's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered what it's like to write and be involved in a show like that, especially just like in the initial phases. Like, do you start by just finding every comic Modek has ever been in and then reading them all? Or how do you go about that? I mean, with the character with such a long history.
Yeah, I mean, we knew the character, we knew the issues, and but just it was more about how do we expand his uh story within the universe now, being aware of his past. But we didn't want to just do nothing but nods to his past story. We wanted to do something kind of new with him. So that's kind of where we ran that way.
Sure.
Yeah, there's something interesting with a character like MODOK who, it's not Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is a very consistent character. Peter Parker,
Mm-hmm.
Parker is cemented. MODOK is kind of from some of those early appearances would change sort of writer to writer, or he'd be
Yeah.
retcon this or retcon that. And I always liked this kind of Grant Morrison way of writing where it's like it all counts. It all happens. So now
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
make a story that makes sense of this character who can be this or be that, and kind of merge those personalities and traits.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. No, totally. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about like you have such involvement with MODOK, and then you put out this Marvel Unforgettable Stories, and I just feel like there's so many ways you could kind of go with doing a collection like this. Like I just think about like what if you did Marvel Unforgettable Stories MODOK edition, and it's just like the 10 best MODOK stories or something like that. And I just think that's a really cool idea. I don't know, would you guys ever be interested in doing something like that, like for a specific character?
We are very available for that.
Yeah. Although Marvel kind of already did that. There is a MODOK collection that's really, really good that kind of
Yeah.
goes over his history. That's kind of fascinating.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Would you want to do one about MODOK, or would you like, is there another character in Marvel Comics that you're just like it's this person's time to shine?
Oh, who needs one? That's an interesting one.
Boy. I mean, they've done all the really major ones. I mean,
You know who I would want? I would want the Thing. I would want all the best Thing stories, I
oh
think.
yeah, yeah.
Because I think
He's
sometimes
had some
he's
really good ones.
looped into just the best Fantastic Four stories, but I would want one like
Right.
centered on the Thing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause there's a bunch of solo ones with him too, and that'd be
Mm.
really cool.
Yeah.
That. So Patton, obviously, you were also in the MCU, voicing Pip the Troll and that
Mhm.
post-credit scenes of Eternals. And I'm sure you get asked 100 times a day. I'm not gonna ask you if you're coming back or anything like that.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of curious about how that came to be. Did you go to Kevin Feige and just be like, it's we need Pip the Troll in the MCU?
No, no, no. They asked me, and I was very, very happy to do it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
gotcha. How was that experience though? I mean, I know it's been a couple of years
It
now.
was fun. It was really fun. I kind of want to focus on the Folio Society book, but yeah, it was really fun to do.
Sure, sure. No, totally. Yeah, and just with the Folio Society book, yeah, and this you mentioned kind of there was a press release that went out and you said if this is like a popular thing, you might be interested in doing another one sometime soon. Is that something you guys are talking about where you would pick 10 more stories?
Oh, we easily have 10 more stories we could do here. Easily. But hopefully this book will sell very well. Fingers crossed, and we'll get to do another one and another one and another one. We can do a series of these.
Well, that's
Sure.
the beauty, right? Is that by the time you can't catch up because by the
Yep.
time the next one comes out, there's like 20 new amazing things that you've done this year.
Exactly.
Mm, sure, sure. It leads into what I was going to ask you too. It's I know you guys are so busy and doing all kinds of stuff, but are you guys like currently keeping up on Marvel Comics and everything? Like, do you have any recent runs or favorite stories that you would want to include?
Oh boy. I mean, there's a lot of the Jerry Duggan stuff I think has been really brilliant.
Hmm.
Um uh oh god, there's just again, there's so much. There's so
Yeah.
much.
We were talking recently, we're like, what is one of the most recent, like, oh, this is an all-timer
Hmm.
story? And I think House of X and Powers of X
Yeah.
and like we haven't even begun to unpack how important of a story that was and
Oh
its
yeah.
influence. So that would be, I think, the most recent, like stone cold classic to me.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Hickman's stuff just kind of in general. I mean, he's doing the
Oh
whole
yeah.
Ultimate Universe and everything now, and that's really cool.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man's been incredible.
Yeah, yeah. But just kind of, I mean, this project, it's out there for the world to see. What are you kind of excited for fans? Are you hoping like new people, kind of people who aren't as familiar with Marvel Comics can pick this up and kind of read these stories for the first time? Have you seen that kind of response?
Both. We'd love it if fans were already Marvel fans, like, wow, I got to dig even deeper. There's even more stuff back there that I didn't know about. And obviously, yes, new people start exploring this universe, not just the past, but knowing that there's other stuff coming down the path. It's gonna be really good.
Sure.
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
lead people, I think, to like maybe not everyone's read the Mark Grunwald Captain America run, and this is just a taste, or they've read, the Death of Elektra, but they never read the epilogue, which is the one we
Yeah,
created.
yeah.
I think we tried to pick a few that weren't, maybe on everyone's top 10 list.